Eminem has been dissing Diddy for 28 years straight and never once backed down, even when Diddy was at the absolute peak of his power and influence, and even when people around Diddy were mysteriously dying, and even when there were rumors about car bombs and hits being put out, and Eminem just kept going harder and harder, calling out things about Tupac's murder and Biggie's death and Cassie's abuse and the Ciroc parties and alleged sex trafficking, and he did all this while Diddy was still untouchable, still throwing parties with presidents and celebrities, still making hundreds of millions of dollars, and everyone else in hip-hop was too terrified to say a word, but Eminem didn't care. And now that Diddy's been arrested and charged with everything Eminem accused him of, people are realizing that M was right all along and was the only one brave enough or crazy enough to speak the truth. So let me break down the entire timeline of Eminem calling out Diddy, because this isn't recent beef. This goes back to 1996, when Eminem was a complete nobody, and it proves that some people really do see evil for what it is and refuse to stay silent no matter how dangerous that is. Let's start at the very beginning, because most people don't know how far back this goes. 1996. Eminem is a broke white rapper from Detroit trying to make it in a genre that doesn't want him. He has no record deal, no fame, no money, no protection. He's nobody. And Diddy is already a mogul. Puff Daddy, Bad Boy Records, Biggie Smalls, Maze, Total, 112, Faith Evans. He's on top of the hip-hop world, making millions, untouchable. And Eminem starts taking shots at him. Not big public disses. Just lines in underground freestyles and battles. Subtle references questioning Diddy's involvement in Tupac's death. Questioning his relationship with Biggie. Suggesting there's something dark behind all the success and champagne and parties. Now you have to understand the context here. 1996 is right when Tupac gets murdered. September 7, 1996, Tupac is shot in Las Vegas and dies 6 days later. The entire hip-hop world is in shock and grief and fear. And there are immediate whispers that Diddy had something to do with it. That the East Coast-West Coast beef wasn't just rap beef. That real money and real violence were involved. And most people in the industry know not to talk about it. You keep your mouth shut. You pay respects. You move on. But Eminem, being Eminem, starts asking questions in his music. Making implications. And nobody stops him because nobody's paying attention to him yet. He's too small to matter. Then 1997. Biggie gets murdered. March 9, 1997. 6 months after Tupac. And now two of the biggest rappers in the world are dead. And the rumors get louder. People are saying Diddy orchestrated both deaths. That he had Tupac killed and then had Biggie killed to cover it up. Or that Suge Knight had both killed. Or that it was gang-related. Or police corruption. Everyone has theories. But nobody with a career says them out loud. Except Eminem. Who's still underground. Still grinding. Still not signed. And he keeps making references. Keeps questioning. Keeps implying Diddy knows more than he's saying. And then 1999, everything changes for Eminem. He releases the Slim Shady LP. It goes triple platinum. He becomes a global superstar overnight. He has Dr. Dre backing him. He has a massive record deal. He has money and fame and a platform. And you'd think now that he's successful he'd stop going at Diddy. Because now he actually has something to lose. Now Diddy could hurt his career. Could use his industry connections to blackball him. Could do worse. But Eminem doesn't stop. He doubles down. Over the next 2 decades, Eminem continues to reference Diddy in increasingly direct ways. He questions his role in Tupac and Biggie's deaths. He suggests Diddy is fake. That he didn't write his own raps. That he exploited Biggie's death for profit. That Bad Boy Records was built on tragedy. And the crazy thing is Diddy never really responds. He'll make vague comments in interviews about not paying attention to negativity. But he never directly comes at Eminem. And people in the industry notice this. They're like, wait, Diddy goes after everyone who disrespects him. He ended careers. He allegedly had people hurt. But he's not touching Eminem. Why? And there are a few theories. One is that Eminem has Dr. Dre and the entire Aftermath entertainment machine behind him. You can't touch Eminem without going through Dre. And Dre is respected. Dre is powerful. Dre is protected. So maybe Diddy calculated that it wasn't worth it. Another theory is that Eminem is white. And going after a white rapper publicly could bring different kinds of heat. Media attention. Mainstream scrutiny. It's easier to handle beef within the black hip-hop community where the rules are different and things can be settled quietly. But Eminem exists outside those rules. He's the best-selling rapper of all time, but he's also an outsider. And that gives him a kind of immunity. But the most interesting theory is that Diddy was actually scared of Eminem. Not physically scared. But scared of what Eminem could do with his platform. Because Eminem has a fan base that's massive and diverse and loyal. And if Eminem really went at Diddy, made a whole song, made it clear and direct, that would be a problem. That would put Diddy under a spotlight he didn't want. So better to ignore it. Let Eminem throw his little shots. Don't make it a thing. And for years that's what happened. Then 2018. Eminem releases the Kamikaze album. And on the song Killshot, which is actually a diss track aimed at Machine Gun Kelly, Eminem throws in a line that directly references Diddy and Tupac's murder. He suggests that Diddy put the hit out on Tupac. It's not subtle. It's not implied. It's direct. And the hip-hop world goes crazy. Because this is a mainstream album. This is Eminem at 50 years old with nothing to prove and nothing to lose, just casually accusing Diddy of murder. On a song that millions of people are going to hear. And once again Diddy doesn't respond. He posts something cryptic on Instagram. But no real response. No diss track. No public beef. Just silence. And then 2020. The documentary about Biggie's murder comes out. And there are new allegations. New witness testimonies. New evidence pointing toward Diddy's involvement. And Eminem is vindicated. Everything he's been saying for 20+ years is getting corroborated by investigators and journalists. But still Diddy is untouchable. Still throwing parties. Still making money. Still hanging out with celebrities and politicians. Still acting like he's above it all. Then 2019. Cassie files a lawsuit against Diddy. And the allegations are horrific. Physical abuse. Sexual abuse. Rape. Forcing her into sex work. Controlling every aspect of her life for over a decade. And video evidence comes out. That hotel hallway surveillance footage of Diddy beating Cassie. Kicking her. Dragging her. And the world finally sees what kind of person Diddy really is. And you know who wasn't surprised? Eminem. Because he'd been calling this out for years. In 2023 Eminem releases a new song called Fuel. And he goes at Diddy again. References the Cassie abuse. References the allegations. References the federal investigation that's starting. And this time people are listening differently. Because now Diddy isn't untouchable anymore. Now the feds are circling. Now other victims are coming forward. Now his empire is crumbling. And Eminem is still there. Still dissing him. Still fearless. And then September 2024. Diddy gets arrested. Charged with sex trafficking. Racketeering. Conspiracy. Everything Eminem has been implying for nearly 3 decades is being laid out in a federal indictment. Diddy is denied bail. He's sitting in jail. His homes were raided. His assets are being seized. His friends are turning on him. His legacy is destroyed. And Eminem drops another reference. Another diss. Because even now with Diddy at his lowest, Eminem isn't done. So why did Eminem never fear Diddy? I think there are a few reasons. First, Eminem genuinely doesn't seem to fear anyone. His entire career is built on saying whatever he wants regardless of consequences. He went at his own mother, his ex-wife, celebrities, politicians, other rappers, the government, cancel culture. He doesn't care. That's his brand. He's untouchable because he's already said and done the worst things you can imagine. What's Diddy going to do that's worse than what Eminem has already done to himself? Second, Eminem saw through Diddy from the beginning. He recognized the evil, the manipulation, the fake persona, the exploitation. And he couldn't stay silent about it. Even when it was dangerous. Even when it could have hurt his career. He had to say something. Because that's who Eminem is. He's the voice for people who can't speak. He's the truth teller. And once you see evil, you can't unsee it. You can't pretend. You can't stay quiet. Third, Eminem had protection. Dr. Dre, Jimmy Iovine, Interscope Records, Paul Rosenberg, his manager. He had a team. He had resources. He had legal protection and physical protection if needed. So while he was taking a risk, it wasn't the same risk that some underground rapper would be taking. Eminem could afford to be brave because he had backup. But I also think there's something deeper. I think Eminem has lived through enough trauma in his own life that he's just not afraid of much. He grew up in poverty. He was abused. He struggled with addiction. He almost died from an overdose. He lost his best friend to violence. He's been sued, cancelled, attacked. And he's still here. Still making music. Still successful. When you've survived all that, what's Diddy going to do to you? Especially when you know you're telling the truth. And now looking back, Eminem was right about everything. Diddy was involved in shady things around Tupac and Biggie's deaths. Diddy was abusive to women. Diddy was running sex trafficking operations out of his homes. Diddy was using his power and wealth to hurt people. Everything Eminem said for 28 years is being proven true. And the hip-hop community is having to reckon with the fact that they stayed silent while Eminem spoke up. That they were scared while he was fearless. That they protected a monster while Eminem tried to expose him. There's a lesson in this. Evil relies on silence. It relies on people being too scared to speak up. Too worried about their careers or their safety or their reputation to tell the truth. And when everyone stays quiet, evil thrives. But it only takes one person. One voice. One fearless individual to start breaking the silence. And Eminem was that person. He wasn't perfect. He made mistakes in his own life. But on this he was right. And he never backed down. So what happens now? Well, Diddy is facing life in prison. His trial is coming. More victims are coming forward. More evidence is being revealed. And his legacy is permanently destroyed. Meanwhile, Eminem is still one of the best-selling artists of all time. Still respected. Still relevant. Still making music. He outlasted Diddy by being honest when everyone else was fake. By being brave when everyone else was scared. And by never compromising his truth even when it would have been easier and safer to stay quiet. What do you think? Do you respect Eminem more now knowing he called this out for decades? Or do you think he was just being messy and controversial? And why do you think Diddy never really came back at him? Was it fear, strategy, or something else? Drop your thoughts in the comments.